Page 78 in the paper version. Bravely he stood fast behind the great shield, knowing already that huge though it was too small to protect him. Undaunted, the hero swung up his huge ancestral sword, ancient sword of all the Geatish kings, and struck the dragon a savage, scything blow, cut through his foul flesh to the bare bone beneath. A death blow he meant it to be, hoped it would be, but this time his good old sword failed to bite deeply enough. Wounded now, the dragon came on in his agony, spat his hellish fire over the great-hearted king, forced him back with his spewing flames. Beowulf felt the skin-searing pain and knew that this time there would be no easy victory, that he had met his match at last. Then as the death dragon raged and roared, rearing up to attack Beowulf again, those chosen few, those trusted comrades in arms, who should have rushed to his side in his moment of need, turned and ran away for safety in the woods, saving their shameful skins, leaving their king to face this flame-belching monster all alone. Only Wiglaf, the youngest, stood there by his side. He felt the bonds of kinship more keenly than the others. He knew his duty, knew where his place was. He would not desert the king who had bestowed on him and his family so much kindness. Land he held in a wealthy house, and gold too, all given to him and his forebears by the most generous of all kings. He would stay and fight at Beowulf's side. Angrily, he urged the others to do the same, shouting after them, "How can you leave him now, when he needs you most, our dear Lord Beowulf? Did he not choose us himself to accompany him on his perilous adventure? Did we not all come here expecting a fight? Now, when we should be at his side, you run away like rabbits? As for me, I would far rather die here alongside him, feel with him the pain of death if I must, end my life fighting in the struggle, sword in hand, rather than desert him and return home shamed forever." But his words fell on deaf ears. Fear filled the cowards, dropped their swords, and ran for their lives. All courage withered, suddenly and gone, and all honor with it. Wiglaf did not hesitate now, disdaining all fear, and this was his first battle. The young lion threw up his wooden shield, strode through the battle smoke to his lord's side. "Beloved and best Beowulf, I'm here to help you. I shall defend you to the death, my king, as I have sworn to do." Just as he spoke, the death dragon attacked for a second time, seeking out both hated foemen with his blast of flame. In that billow of the fire, youngster's shield was at once burned, reduced to cinders, and his mail shirt was melted away in the heat as if it simply had not been there. So the young kingsman leapt behind the old king's shield. New strength surged into Beowulf's heart as he saw that now he was not alone in his fight. He sprang up once again from behind his shield and struck at the fire-snorting snake with his might. But his iron blade snapped. The ancient sword of sternest steel, which had never before failed him in battle, failed him now, left him at the mercy of the pitiless monster who came down upon him for the third time. Now was the demon dragon's chance, and he took it. Seething with war hatred, he opened his bitter jaws and seized the champion by the neck. The serpent's fangs bit deep into his flesh, and Beowulf's lifeblood poured out from him. Wiglaf, that young hero, was as good as his word. His courage did not fail him now. He summoned all his strength, sprang forward into the dragon's fire to defend his lord. His hands and head were burned as he came through it, but he was not to be put off, this brave warrior. He would do his duty. Wiglaf did not aim for the scaly head of the beast, but went instead for the soft throat, stabbing deep into it with his sword, a thrust so powerful that the dragon was forced to loosen his grip on Beowulf. So stunning that fiery flow was suddenly stemmed and stanched forever. Coming again to his senses, the great king seized that moment, whipped out his battle-sharp dagger, and drove it to the hilt into the dragon's body. So together the two heroes downed the dragon. They did not stop stabbing him till an end was made of him, till his last gasp of life, the last death breath was over, and the monster was still. But for Beowulf, this was to be his last victory of so many, and he knew already that the poison in his wounds was beginning to burn and swell inside him. He sat down heavily on a ledge of rock, knowing that the shadow of his own death was upon him, feeling the fatal pain of it boiling in his chest. Wiglaf, ever attentive to his lord and friend, ever loyal, bathed his bloodied king, unfastened his helmet, did all he could to stanch the bleeding, to relieve his pain. But death he could not stanch. No one can. The fearless leader knew well now that this was the end of his time, of all his earthly happiness. He had only one wish to fulfill before his life left him. He called Wiglaf closer, for his speech was thin now, his breathing short. "Go now, dear friend," he said. "Go into the mound and find this dead serpent's treasure hoard. I want to see it with my own eyes before I die. Those ancient jewels, your golden inheritance. Just once, I want to see it."